Good morning, good afternoon. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. You're welcome to six steps to write your book in 30 days. Okay, I'm so glad you guys are here today. I'm so excited. I'm so ready to go. So please just, okay, somebody else is here. Please let me know where you're joining from. You are welcome. So thank you, Injide, for joining. Thank you, Pastor Eunice Agbo. Thank you, Tawe Iwalola. Thank you, Mr. Damilola. Yes, good evening. Okay, I don't know. Okay, where's my chat? Okay, there we are. From, yes, sorry, BC. I have somebody from Cambridge. You're welcome. Thank you. Please keep dropping it in the comments. We had quite a few people register, so they will join us as they join, or they'll join us as we go along. So give me 1 minute. We are starting now. I don't do African time. I don't do African time. We start, even if it's 2 people in the room, I just start. Okay. So Damlala, I'm making you co-host so that at least you can admit people as they come in. Thank you so much for taking out time on your Saturday to join us, because I know how Saturday, somebody was just saying now, Saturdays can be very interesting. So I know how Saturdays are. So you're joining here. I really do appreciate it. And I don't take your time for granted. Okay, so let's get into this. So let me see if I can share my screen. So let's know as you join, just drop where you're joining from. Thank you, everyone. Okay. So let's start this. So this is, before I even go into this is something that is so exciting, in my heart. This is, and the reason why this is something that is so exciting for me is because growing up, I used to write as a child. It's really interesting. From the age of 8, age of 9, I used to write. I don't know where I think it was because I used to love to read a lot as I grew up. So as I read, and normally if you read a lot, you would like to write. It kind of goes hand in hand because you're getting ideas. So I guess it goes into that. So I used to like to read to read a lot. And after I found out I started writing. So when I was little, I used to write like short stories. I used to write like fictional stories. And I said, oh, when I grow up, I'm going to publish this, that I'm going to send this to, other people are going to read about this. But guess what? It never happened. Like a lot of us know, life always happens and then we throw it by the side and then it doesn't happen. Okay, yes, it doesn't happen. I'm sure that has happened to a few people with a lot of things. And so that was where my love for writing started from. And so I used to write and write and write and write. But then when I left Nigeria, when I left Nigeria and I moved to the UK, I left my writings in Nigeria. And then when I moved to the UK, of course, life happening, things were going on, like I just threw it by the side. But I remember it wasn't until 2015 when I began to ask God, what have you called me to do? What am I meant to do in this, in this season? What is my purpose? All of that. God reminded me of how I used to write as a child. And so I was wondering, I said, is it possible to actually forget that you used to do something? I couldn't believe how I could forget. It was so interesting, but in a way I forgot. So my love for writing was kind of woken up again at the time. And how he did that was that I remember he told me when I said, okay, but what have you called me to do? One of the things that he told me to do was go to the store. I remember that day he said, go to the store and get 3x5 index cards. I've shared this story over and over. And then come back tomorrow and sit with me here. And as you sit with me, I'm going to tell you what we're going to do. And so as I remember, as I sat there with him, he would, he would tell me, I'm going to give you one verse. And that verse, I'm going to download what you're going to write regarding that verse. And so that was how my writing was restarted. So I started writing again. And it was interesting because he knew that because I had not written, because for me, I said, God, I've not written for over a decade. And he said, but because you used to do it, you're going to be able to do it. I said, okay, I was wondering how, but I now found as I began to write day by day, this happened for a period of about 6 months. So as I wrote day by day, it began to reignite that love for writing. So for me, that was where my love for writing was ignited from. It was from that time of just sitting with God, and it was such an exciting time. And so that was why my passion was, and I just think, this is so interesting. So guess what? That year I wrote my first manuscript. It was interesting because I had started this rewriting in the month of August. BCG, you're welcome. Thank you for joining us. So I had started this rewriting in the month of August 2015. When it was October, I had been writing this 3x5 index cards. I remember when it came to October, God said to me, this index cards you're writing are going to become a book. You're going to finish writing this devotional on the 31st of August, 31st of December that year. And I said, God, I can't. Like, it's not possible. I started to freak out. I started to just say, no, it's not possible. How can I do this I was thinking, because I had started rewriting, remember, in August. This was now October, and I'm thinking August to December, October to December. How is it possible? Like, it's not even possible for me to write a 365-day devotional. And I said, God, I can't. He said to me, let me help you. And I thought, okay, I'll let you help me. And so what I did was, every day he said to me, actually count how many days are left in the year. And so as I counted, guess what happened? I found that I had to write 8 of those cards a day if I wanted to write 365 by December 31st. And so I said, this is going to be hard. And truly, was it easy? No, it wasn't. So what I just found was that it was stretching me, because he knew that I was going to begin to now write more. So every day I would sit there, but I found every time I sat there, I would get what to write, because I was now excited. I was ready. And truly on the 31st of December, I finished that manuscript, and I was screaming, I was yelling, I was so excited. And my husband and children did not understand, because they thought, okay, you wrote a book, so. But for me, it was so big, because I felt like, yes, I had accomplished something. I didn't even know why I was excited, but I was excited. And so that was how my journey of writing started off again. And so I just wanted, so when you see me come here and say, oh, I want to show you 6 easy steps, there are things that I have been able to use that have helped me to be able to write my book in 30 days. And I just, you know what? And over the years, I think in 2018, my son had, actually before 2018, my son had gone to a journey of leukemia, which a lot of people know. And I knew the power of a story. So I had tried to get my son, my husband and I had tried to get our son, share your story to help somebody. He's like, I don't want to. He didn't want to. He was really young. He was only about 14 at the time, 13, 14. So we thought, okay, he doesn't want to. We're not going to force him. When you're ready, you do it. So guess what? That we had been trying to, he wouldn't. And then that year, 20, I think was the year he was 14, he had gone with me to a conference in Dallas. And one of the speaker that was hosting the conference had said something like, someone in need is waiting at the other end of your obedience. And my son looked at me and said, Mommy, it's time to write my book. And I thought, really? He said, Mommy, she's talking to me. She's talking to me. I thought, okay, he was only 14. So I'm like, okay. And guess what? He started writing. He wrote there when we got to the hotel room. He wrote at the airport. He was just writing. He was scribbling down. We got on the plane. He was writing. We got home. He was writing. And he would not stop until he finished writing this book. So I was now on his case, like, this book has to get done. So I found out that now it wasn't just that I was writing, but now I was beginning to help other people to write. My husband wanted to write a book. I'm like, yes, let's get on it. I helped him to write his book. Somebody came for a coaching session in 2020, last year, January. Her name is Noya. She said, so what I did was I said to them, I want to help you with one goal, just one goal in a month. Tell me what I can help you with in 30 days. What? And she said to me, I've been writing a book from 2019. I've only written the introduction. I want to be able to finish the book. And guess what she did? I said, no, I've done books, and that's not an issue. So we sat together, and as I began to help her, she wrote her book in 10 days. I actually forgot to put it on here. I was going to put a slide. I don't know how I forgot. So I forgot to put it on here. Her name is Nonya. I shared her testimony a couple of days ago. So it's interesting how I found out that it wasn't now about me just writing books, but also I could help other people, because for me, because my purpose is to help other people to bring out what they have on the inside of them. It's for them to discover it, but also to bring out everything that God has put on the inside of you. And I believe that a lot of us, if you have a message, you have a book. If you have a message, you have a book. And that is where this came from. So as I'm doing a writer's book, and I thought, as I'm going to do that, I want to help. Let's see, I want to be able to share this with other people as well that are looking to write their books. So let's get into this. For those that might not know, most of you that here know me. but people that might be watching the replay might not know me. So I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Olu Alabode. I'm a John Maxwell speaker, coach, and trainer. Like I mentioned, I'm an author of 7 published books. I have 3 in the works, which means 3 that I haven't published. And I'm going to start writing another one this month. I'm a wife. I'm a mom of 4. I co-pastor a church with my husband. I'm a purpose-made wife. I help people to bring out all that they have on the side of them. I'm a conference host. I host the Manifest Conference every year. And I'm a podcaster. That's some things about me. Okay. Before I get into this, I just want to get a feel of people in the room. Oh, we're holding somebody's out there. Okay, I just want to get a feel of people in the room. So let's see. Okay, I know everybody is here. So if what I'm saying is making sense, I want to see it in the comment box. I don't just want this to be, I want it to be interactive. So I want you guys to let me know that you're here. At least just put if what I'm saying is making sense, please put it in the comment box before I go back to sharing my screen. I'm glad you're joining me today. Okay, thank you, BCG. I see your hand up. Thank you so much. Oh, very inspired already. Thank God. Okay, let me go back to my screen. So why are we doing this today? I want to share, before we share the 6 things, I want to share this with us. 4 reasons why you must write your book. I didn't just put you must write a book. I'm saying you must write a book because I believe that each one of us has a message. I always say this, every one of us carries a message. And if you have a message, you have a book in you. So we're talking about 4 reasons why we must write a book. And the first reason is that if you don't write your book, let me minimize this. If you have a book in you and don't write it, we may never experience your uniqueness. We may never experience your uniqueness. So if you have a book in you and you don't write it, guess what? Because the word of God says, I'm a person of faith, so I'm going to share this. The word of God says that each of us is a masterpiece. This is one of my favorite things that I just got an exposition on that word masterpiece. It means that masterpieces are works of art. They are like when you have the canvas and you take it to the auction. Every time you see 2 masterpieces, they're not the same. Every masterpiece is unique. And so what am I saying is that every time you share a masterpiece, that masterpiece is unique. And so because you are unique, you have a unique experience. I have a unique experience. Each of us our experiences are different. Damilola has a different experience. Njide has a different experience. BC has a different experience. Iwalala has it. We all have unique experiences. And the best way we can bring out these experiences to our world is, guess what? To share it in a book. Because you know what I remember that God always used to tell me at one time. He used to say, even if it's one person that is going to be blessed by the things that you share, let that one person be blessed. I remember when I started sharing my story on my suicide attempt story, like that twice, I had this attempt to just end it all and just finish it all. Why did I start sharing that story? Because I remember at the end of that journey, I said to myself, nobody should have to go through what I've gone through. Because I'm a pastor, I said, no pastor ever has to go through what I've gone through. I'm going to do everything in my ability to make sure that nobody goes through this thing. One of the ways that I can do that is what? By sharing that experience. So maybe you've gone through abuse, you've gone through molestation, you've gone through you've gone through maybe a time of barrenness, you've gone through whatever it is, you've gone through one experience or the other. Somebody needs to know about that. You have a unique experience that you've gone through. I shared the story of my son. He didn't want to share it. My son didn't want to share his story, but guess what? He had gone through leukemia. There are people that were still going to go through that season, that just reading my son's book they would draw strength. I remember one of the days we the 2 of them, actually 2 of my children like to go with me to the store. The other 2 are like introverts. They don't like to go anywhere with me because they said, Mommy, you talk a lot. So one day he and his sister went with me to the store. And this woman walked up to us and she looked at us in the store. She said to me, oh, hi, are you Olabode? She called me by my last name. And I'm like, yes, I am. But I didn't know why she was asking. She said, and I said, yes, how can I help you? She said, somebody shared your son's story with me. This was a random woman I just saw in the store. Somebody shared your son's story with me. And she said, my son had brain tumor. And he's gone through this and this and this and this. And the person shared your son's story to help me. Is that somebody shared your son's story to help me? I'm just admitting people into the room. Okay, they should all have joined now. Okay, somebody is still waiting. Sorry about this. Okay, I think we're all in the room now. So she said, somebody shared your son's story with me, and I got strength from it. And I said to her, I said, can I have your address? She said, why? I said, because I want to give you a copy of the book, because it's really going to bless you. Why am I sharing that? Often we find that the experiences we've gone through, our uniqueness is a combination of everything that we've gone through. Our stories, it's our past, it's just everything about us. And if we never share that experience with others, guess what's going to happen? We're going to take it to the grave. I'm going ahead of myself, but so another thing is that writing your book helps to position you as an authority on the topic you're writing about. Because what I find is that when you're writing a book, guess what you do? When you're writing a book, you begin to do research about it. God begins to open your eyes. It's almost like when you buy a new car. For example, if you buy a Nissan Rogue, like I have a Nissan Rogue, I found out when we bought that Nissan Rogue, I began to see Nissan Rogues everywhere. I don't know if it happens to you. Somebody tell me if it happens to them. You begin to see that kind of car everywhere you go. You begin to look and you see that car. I don't know if, or maybe you're thinking of buying a Mercedes-Benz. Now you begin to see Mercedes-Benz everywhere. You're wondering, why am I seeing Mercedes-Benz everywhere? It wasn't that those cars were in there. It's a matter of perspective. Now, because you're zoned in on that topic, guess what happens? You begin to see things about that topic, and you begin to take it in, and you begin to add it to your research. You begin to add it to your research. Yes, you add it to your research. And guess what? That's how now you become, so you're almost like an authority on that topic, because you zone in on, you laser in on that topic. And so whereby somebody might not just know 1, 2, 3 things about that topic, you have been able to get research from other people as well as what you know to get ready for this webinar. For example, I started to research some certain things apart from what I knew as my own experience. Why? Because it would help me to get my points across better. So we become an authority as we sit on it. So somebody here has, maybe you're a guru in business. You know some certain things about, like my husband, now he talks about wealth creation a lot. His passion is wealth creation, entrepreneurship, and all of that. His wealth creation, entrepreneurship. And so last week he did a webinar on how to start your business from scratch, how to build $1 million from scratch. It's his comfort zone, but he does a lot of research into it. And so when you begin to do research, guess what happens? Now you become an authority in that area. So writing your book helps to position you. So when they want to talk about that topic, they say, oh, so and so have written a book on this. Let's ask her, because she has an idea, because now you know more about that topic. And often because of the things that you have gone through, I'll keep going back to that, you have an experience. There are some things that I would not even know, that I might not know about a waiting season before you give birth, because I almost had babies straight away. But there's somebody that went through a waiting season of 6 years, 7 years. When they write a story about that, guess what? Somebody that is also going through that waiting season can identify, it resonates with them, and they're like, wow, you went through that? I want to learn from you. And that is why writing, so you must not take your uniqueness to the grave. It's so, so, so important. Let me go quickly. Okay, I've already talked about this. If you don't write, we may never learn from your life experiences. We may never learn from your life experiences. I've spoken expressly about this. Okay, let's go on. If you don't write, you rob off of your legacy that should outlive you. Oh, this one, I can't even overemphasize it. I don't know if somebody understands what I'm saying. I'm going to share a story. Miles Monroe shared this interesting story about himself. He said a couple of years, Miles Monroe is he almost is the one that really brought purpose to the limelight. He talks about you discovering your purpose, your God's purpose for your life and all of that. He talks about the kingdom, he talks about authority. But he said he said for the longest time he wouldn't write books. If I said one day, he talks about marriage as well and relationships. So he said one day he went to a place to preach, and somebody said to him, oh, these are new ideas you're giving us. Do you have this in a book? He said, a book? What would I do with a book? Like, why would I write a book? He said he would not write a book because he believed that he was not just going to share with the audience that was right there in front of him. So he did not write a book. He didn't think it was important. And so but he said when it really dawned on him was when the guy said to him, you know what? I want to help you write your book. And all you have to do is, I want you to send all your CDs to me and I will help you transcribe your CDs. And he said 3 weeks later, the guy sent it to him. He sent him a manuscript and he was like, whoa, you mean just like that? And then he said one day he went to Greece. At one point, he and his wife went to Greece on a holiday. And they went to this village whereby you don't get there except by cable car. He said, so they were at this place. It was like a nowhere, like people would not even know him. And all of a sudden, he heard this woman shouting, Miles, Miles. And he looked, he's like, who knows me in this little village in Greece? Who would know me here? So he said, he looked, who would know me in this little village? And the woman said, Miles, just wait. And so he said she ran into her house and ran back out with the book. I said, Miles, guess what? I was just reading your book. I'm sitting in front of the fire and I'm reading your book. And that day, he said, it really, really dawned on him the power of a book. He said, because imagine your book would reach people that you would never be able to reach. There are people that you and I would never be able to reach. They are, and especially like now that the world has even become a global village, whereby you are like, I live here in Canada, but somebody in China picks up my book on Amazon. Somebody in Thailand picks up my book. Somebody in Australia is reading it. So beyond where you can even reach by yourself, you might never go there. He was going to greet that particular village for the first time, but this woman had all his books. So he said, if you know, and so I want to tell someone today, if we don't write the book that is in us, you are robbing us. I'm telling you that you're listening. You are robbing us of your legacy that should outlive you. Miles Monroe died a good number of years ago now, but guess what? I still have his books here. I still have so many of his books. I'm sure you have some of his books. And so why am I sharing this? If you don't write, you rob us of the legacy that should outlive you. It is so important for you and I to write. It is just so important. The world is waiting for what you carry. And like I said, you have a unique experience. You have things, you have stories that the world needs to hear because you are carrying something special. So if you don't write, you are robbing us. We need to find out about that experience. Okay. So thank you everyone that's just joined us. So now let me jump into 6 steps to help you write your book in 30 days. So we talked about why we need to write that book. So I'm challenging you today. That's really my thing here today. I'm challenging you today. Maybe God has been saying to you, you know, God, write that book. And you'll be like, I don't have what I need to write it. I want to share this. These steps I'm sharing are things that I have been able to use, that have helped me. They're easy steps that I've been able to use in my day-to-day life. Yeah, someone says Miles Monroe is a huge influence through his books. Imagine if Miles Monroe had decided that I'm not going to write. Like he said, he didn't write for the longest time. He started writing, I think, in 1994. That was when he started writing. But imagine if Miles Monroe did not write. How would we read so many of his books? You know, so many. How would we read them? And so if you don't write, how would I know your unique experience? If you don't write, how would you be able to share with the other person? I told you that when my son started writing, I told him, I said, one of the things why I'm asking you to write is because we would take those books to the hospital. Like he was in children's hospital for so many years. So I said, we'll take those books to children that are still going through leukemia. And then we can share that book with them and say, you know what, you're going through this journey. But guess what? If you can just draw strength from this, this boy also went through, and they can just draw strength from that book, is enough. So that's why I'm sharing this today. So 6 steps to help you write your book in 30 days. Let's go to step number 1. And I believe step number 1 is like a big one. I say, believe you can. I love this quote by Henry Ford. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. So believe you can. You don't invest in it. I might come here today and I might talk and share and all of that. If you don't believe you can write, what's going to happen? You're going to go back to your corner and you are not going to write. And so as I'm challenging you today, believe in yourself. Believe you can write. And how do you believe? And I know that word believe is powerful. That word believe means is a state or habit of mind in which trust or confidence is placed in something or in some person or thing. Something that is accepted, considered to be true as or held as an opinion is something you believe of yourself. So maybe you've been told, oh no, you can't do this. Oh, it is only certain people that write it. It's only you have to have this. You know, you have to have this, you have to go to school to know how to write, or you have to have done this before you can write. No, no, no. I say, if you have a story, you can write. If you have an experience, you can write. If you have an expertise in an area, you are called to write because the world needs what you carry. The world is waiting. I'm a person of faith, and there's a scripture that I love that has become such a part of my life. It's Romans 8:19. Actually, from the Passion Translation, it says that the entire universe is standing on tiptoe, earnestly yearning for the unveiling of God's glorious sons and daughters. So the world is waiting for what you carry. The question is, what are you waiting for? But you might say, oh, the world is waiting, but if I don't believe I can do it, am I going to be able to do it? So I want you to type in the comment box now, I can, write, I can do this. I want to see somebody type in here, I can do this, I can do this, I can, I believe I can. I want to see it in the comment box, I believe I can. Somebody type in here, I believe I can, I believe I can. I'm waiting to see your comment. I believe I can. Yes, I can do this. You can do this. I'll share a little bit of my story of writing. And if I can, you can. I shared with you at the beginning how God started me off. Yes, you can do this. God started me off, and God started me off on that little journey of just write a little bit a day. Because for some of us, believing we can is the very beginning. But once you take the limits off you, guess what? You're going to get into it. So I'll share a little bit more about that. So we must believe we can. Theodore Roosevelt says, believe you can, and you are halfway there. And I so believe it. Because when I remember when I started on that journey, I remember when God said that to me, that we're going to complete this devotional in before the end of the year. I said, God, I can't do this. I can't. I could not even imagine how I was going to do it. But he said, if you let me help you, you will be able to do it. And so I had to believe, okay, this is doable. This is possible. And as I believed I could, because when you believe you can, your brain starts to be, when your brain believes that it can, you start to take action. That's what I found towards doing it. So I began to say, okay, now let's now think, what are the strategies that can help me to do this actually in this period of time? So number 2 is ask yourself questions. So to write a book, there must be a why. Ensure you have a why. It says that purpose is the why that answers every other why. That's a popular quote, is an unknown by an unknown person. Purpose is a why that answers every other why. So what is your why for writing? Why do you want to write? Because when you come to a crunch point, when you come to a point where you feel stuck, that's why is going to push you to go and write it. You remember, do you know the other thing? When I was writing that 365-day devotional, I remember that because God said to me, okay, now I found I have to write 8 cards a day. But I remember there were days that were so hard. Days like Sunday, you know, I came back from church. I didn't want to write anything. I just wanted to sit down and have a nap like everybody else. But I remember God would say to me, we haven't written today. I was like, God, I don't want to write. He said, we are writing. So guess what? I'll get up. I know I want to have a nap. I'll get up, go sit there. But I remember, you know what? I can do this. I can do this. This is really not about me. This is about people that are going to read this book. Okay, I can do this. And I remember every time I sit there and just hold on to that, the why was that this is not about me. So you need to ask yourself a question, what would you like to write about? So imagine what you would like to write about. That's the very beginning. What would you like? What is it in your area of expertise? Is it in your area of the experiences you've gone through? Is it, you know, what is it that you want? What is that you want the world to know? I shared my son's story. He shared his story. Is it your story? Because our stories are so powerful. One of the books that I want to write, I think next year, is Preserved for Purpose. And that talks about my suicide attempt story. That it wasn't just even about me. God preserved me because there was a purpose for me to help other people. So what is that reason? Yes, Mladini, you can do this. How you mean? So why would you like to write? Ask yourself why you, because your why is going to push you to make sure that you write it. Your why is going to be a driving force. No, okay. Your why is going to be your driving force. Number 3, you must decide to be committed to starting and finishing the book. So there's going to be work to be done. I will not lie to you. Writing is not like, it's a call to maturity. You're going to have to sit there and do the work. It is a call to maturity. You're going to have to commit to it. But when you believe you can, as you sit there and ask yourself a question, what do I want to write about? Why do I want to write this book? It begins to give you adrenaline. It begins to help you. That's what actually drives you to say, okay, yes, I can do this. Let me write what I want to write about. Let me talk about why I really want to write this book. Now I'm going to decide to it. Okay, I want to write this book in 30 days. I'm gonna commit to myself. This one, it's not like you're not sharing it on social media. You are not sharing with anybody. This is you committing to do it yourself. I remember, I always say, make it creative. Give yourself a challenge. I'm going to give myself a 30-day writing challenge. And you're going to tell yourself, I'm going to write every single day for 30 days. Maybe you want to write a 30,000 words book. You can say, I'm going to write 1,000 words per day. And every day between, and I'm going to get into that in the next point. I'm going to tell myself, I'm going to write 1,000 words per day. When is my best time that my energy is up? Maybe it's at 6 a.m. in the morning. I'm going to sit here for 6 at 6 a.m. in the morning. Between 6 and 6:30, let me see what I can do. Maybe I can break it before I go to work. I want to just, maybe I'm a morning person. I want to just write 30 minutes. And then when I come back from work in the evening, I want to write another 30 minutes. So it is so important, but you must commit to finishing, starting and finishing the book. Commitment is so key. It is so important. Jean-Paul Sartre says, commitment is an act, not a word. So what I'm saying is that we're going to have to be action driven. It's not going to be a word. Somebody here is going to have to do the work. We have to put in the work. We can't take that out. Okay, let me say this. Vincent Lombardi says, most people fail not because of a lack of desire, but lack of commitment. So a lot of people, it's not that you find you desire to write, but what action are you going to follow? Action is a doing word. So acting it out. What action are you going to take? What action are you going to put to your commitment? So Will Smith says the road to success is through commitment. We see Will Smith showing up, doing all those movies. It is commitment. Often they don't feel like, and that's where intentionality comes about. Intentionality means to be deliberate and be purposeful. It means I don't feel like, but I'm going to do it anyway. And that was what happens when I started to write. When God says to me, you know what, we're doing this, we're writing this. We are doing it. I'm like, Lord, I don't want to do this. Sorry, you're doing it. So it's a call to, you know what, I'm going to be committed to this. I can do this. Not even just for me, for those 4 reasons that I shared, because my world is waiting to hear what I have to carry, because I carry value. I'm a masterpiece. So I have so much value within me, and I can share this value with somebody. Maybe you're someone that knows about how to parent in a phenomenal way. You've been able to raise children that are, you know, that maybe your children maybe they ace school. You want to share this with somebody that needs to know about this. You know, there's so many areas. There are so many areas that we can share with other people. Okay, let's go on. Number 4 is design a plan for those 30 days before you start. So this was something that really, really helped me when I started to write. So I remember at the time when I started to write one of the books, after I finished that manuscript that I told you about, I remember I had gone back to work, and then one of the days I was at work, and I remember God said to me, one of the days I was at work, he said to me, why do you keep letting people tell you what you can do and you cannot do? And I said, who is talking? He said, it's me, God. You keep letting people limit you. You keep letting people put limitations on you. And I said, really? He said, yes. So I remember him saying to me, you are limited. So he said to me, he gave me a verse, and it was Ephesians 3:20. And he said, I want you to begin to dream big beyond where you are right now. Because the job where I was then, I just didn't see beyond my current reality. He said, I want you to begin to dream big. And how I want you to do is that now you're going to write a book called Dream Big, Live Your Dreams. No limitations allowed. I was like, whoa, really? So the title of my book, I wish I have it somewhere. Okay, I have it here actually. Let me show you the book. It's called Dream Big, Live Your Dreams, No Limitations Allowed. You can see there's a vision board in front of the book. So he said to me, you're going to write that book. And I'm like, really? Yes. And because I was doing it, I worked graveyards, which means I worked at night. It was a 40-hour week I had. I was a full-time pastor's wife. My children were young. There was so much going on. And so I was like, Lord, how am I going to write this book? This is like, and I'm sure some of you are saying, I have a busy schedule already. I go to work, I have a 9 to 5. I have things that I do on the side. How possible? Where do I get the time? But I remember that the Holy Spirit really helped me at the time to do, you know what it was? It was to set a schedule. And at the time, it was something that changed my life completely. Till now, I still practice it. And I remember he said to me, I know you have a busy schedule, but there are books on the inside of you. And I said, well, how do I do it? He said to me, and for me, it was a specific schedule. He said to me, because I used to work till 7, I worked 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. at the time. And so I'll get home like 7:30. And then he'll say, I want you to go to bed by 8, make sure you're in bed. You're going to sleep between 8 a.m. and 1 p.m. I have to be writing all this down. And between 8 a.m. and 1 p.m., I'm like, okay. 1 p.m., I want you to get up. Between 1 p.m. and 2, you're going to write. And I was like, really? He said, yes. So every day, and I had to use a schedule. I had to have a plan. So this was, for me, that was my own schedule. And so every day between 1 p.m. and 2 p.m., I would wake up. 1 p.m. I'm awake. I set my alarm. I wake up. 1 p.m. 2 p.m. It was my writing time. And trust me, that was what helped me to write. At the time, I wrote 3 books. I think it was 3 books in 3 years. But that was, even with my full-time schedule, I was able to write and publish those books. It wasn't that I just wrote it. I wrote them and published them. And so why am I sharing this? I was able to use that. So between 1 p.m. and 2 p.m., I would write. Then 2 p.m. So the schedule kept going. But he gave me a plan. And so what I found out as I now began to write was that before I even start to write the book, now I have a schedule. I'm going to write. But if I want to do this in 30 days, what do? I must have a plan for each of those 30 days. So I'm not just going to, the book must have been written in my mind before I start writing on paper. So now you want to write, for example, you want to write on raising, maybe raising a purposeful child, for example. That's just an example. What are the chapters that you want to see in the book? What are the things that you want to write in the book? What I think you're gonna design a plan for everything you want to see in that book before you start writing. Just tell yourself, I'm going to write this on day 1, on day 2, on day 3, on day 4. Write it all the way to day 30. And then guess what? Because after day 30, other things will still come. But by day 30, you would have already had the biggest part of the book done. So even if you're not just adding extra to it, you have your book. And that is where intentionality comes in. You're going to have to be committed. You're going to have to be intentional about designing that plan. Okay. I hope if this is helping you, let me know in the chat. I like this interactive. Let me know that I'm not just talking, but it's actually helping someone. Let me know that this is helping you. Please put a comment in there so I can know that this is actually helping you. Okay, let's go to number 5. I'm waiting to hear from you. If it's helping you, let me know. So if you fail to plan, you're planning to fail. Benjamin Franklin said that. And so that's why you have to have a plan. So in writing, you have to have a plan. Yes, thank you. I see your comments. Oh, somebody said I missed number 1 to 3. Let me see this. Oh, yes, you missed number 1. So don't worry, this is recorded. So I'm going to send the recording after we're done so that you can watch it. I know you came in a bit late, but I have this recorded. So I'm going to send out the recording once we're done so that you can rewatch it as well. So if you fail to plan, you are planning to fail. So that's why we need a plan. Okay. Thank you. I'm glad this is helping. Okay. So number 5 is follow the plan. Now you've written out a plan. You have to follow the plan. So whatever plan, and that you see what I keep talking about intentionality. Intentionality for me, I always say, is a game changer. I see it as a game, which means that you commit. You are saying, you know what? I don't feel well today, but I've committed to writing. I have to do my 1,000 words today. I'm going to sit there and I'm going to write it. And I'm going to sit there and I'm going to write it. I'm going to sit there and I'm going to write it. I don't care it's not about how you feel. It's about what you have to do. I was telling one of my sons the other day, I said, when I don't feel well, I go to walk. I might have my Neocitran in hand. I might have Tylenol, whether I don't feel well, but guess what? I'm showing up because I committed. And a lot of us, we do the same thing. If you don't feel well, as not feel well, that you're going to, someone else is going to contact you from you. But if something that maybe you just don't feel good, feel very well, but nobody's going to catch anything from you. What did you still show up? So show up for this book. Show up for this book. Commit to it and show up for it. So you've done the plan. Now you have to follow the plan. You must follow the plan. And number 6 is my sweet thing that I keep sharing is be intentional. Be intentional about putting in the work so you can see the results. If you put in the work, you will see the results. If you put in the work, that is the truth about it. I remember for all the books that I've written, whenever I put in the work, I see the results. I told you about my schedule of writing between 1 and 2. I was amazed at how I could write. I was amazed at what could happen. There was a mini book that I wrote, I think it was in 2018, one of my mini books that are my resource for my nonprofit. It's called God Has an Awesome Plan for Your Life. It's a little mini book. But one of the days I was at work, and as I was just working at night, I remember God said to me, oh, you know what, go for a break. We are going to download this book now. And I said, I had just half an hour. I went into the lunchroom. I sat there and I just began to scribble, almost like shorthand that they used to use back in the day. And I was scribbling. As I was getting the down, I was just writing. When I got home, I went to go and rewrite everything in proper words. Guess what happens? The mini book was done just from that. Please mute yourself as you come in. Mute yourself, please. So guess what happened? The book was done. That was a book I did almost in 30 minutes, a 30-minute book, just like that. And so I find that it's more like when you're intentional about it, it's going to happen. If you want to put in the work, it will happen. Definitely, it will happen. But it now depends on you. Are you going to be ready to be intentional? Yes, I will do a recap of the 6 steps because I know some of us missed it. I will go back to the start in a minute. So let's do a recap of the 6 steps for people that joined us a bit late, and then I'll go on from there. Just give me a minute. Okay. So number 1 was believe you can. Believe you can, and you are halfway there. And like I said, I'm going to send the replay so that way you'll be able to see the points as well. Believe you can. That's number 1. Number 2 is ask yourself questions. Ensure you have a why. What would you like to write about, and why would you like to write it? You need to have a why. If you don't have a why, that book is not going to get done. That why is going to drive you when you don't feel like and when you feel like. So have a why. You must have a why for writing that book. Number 3, I said, is decide to be committed to starting and finishing the book. Put yourself on a 30-day commitment plan. I actually do this a lot. I do challenges for myself. It's very interesting. I always like to make things creative. So for me, I'll have a 30-day walking challenge, a 21-day consistency plan. I won't tell anybody, it's just with me. I'll be writing it down, I'll be thinking of the calendar. It just does something to me. And when I miss one day, I'm like, oh, this is not good. Day 2, we're continue the next day. I do not get put down. So give yourself challenge yourself to do this. If you know that you have a book that you really want to write this year, challenge yourself. You can do this. So that's number 3. Number 4 is, okay, we spoke about commitment is an act, not a word. And I shared this. Most people fail not because of a desire to, not because of a lack of desire, but because of lack of commitment. Okay, number 4 is design a plan for those 30 days before you start. Number 5 is follow the plan. And number 6 is be intentional about putting in the work so you can see the results. And the end of it is write your book. The world is waiting. And so you're here, you might say, yes, I really want to write this book, but I don't even know how to write this book. Write your book. The world is waiting. So I'm going to take some question and answer in a minute. I'm going to take some question and answer. And also, so I want to take some Q&A if you have any questions. This is how I can help you if you're looking to write your book in 30 days. I'm having a Writers Bootcamp. This is happening from March 15 to April 15. And like I told you, I've helped other people write their books. And I am here to help people. In fact, I call it, because I'm a purpose midwife, I call it push. I want to help you birth that book that is in you. So it's going to have an accountability Facebook group whereby we drop the number of words that we write per day for every day of the 30 days. You're going to be writing. We're going to have weekly hand-holding Zoom calls. We're going to have one-on-one clarity call with me to help you clarify your book idea. I'm going to send you an email template to aid you in finishing your book in 30 days. Oh, thank you. I'm going to send you an email template to aid you in finishing your book in 30 days. And there's also other bonuses. I like to give people this book away as well. So I think I'm going to throw that in there as well. Dream Big, one of my favorite books, Dream Big, Live Your Dreams, no limitations allowed. So just make us know that there is no limitation that should be allowed. If there's a book in you, let's get it done. Let's get it done. So I want to take Q&A. If you have a question, a contribution, please go ahead. I would love to take Q&A. So the floor is open. You can unmute yourself if you want to, or you can raise your electronic hand if you want to. Oh, thank you. You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. So any questions, any questions, any questions? Yes, for throwing you this challenge. Challenges work for me so well. I'm challenging with no pressure because now I'm doing it against myself. I'm not doing it with anybody else. I'm just saying I'm challenging myself. I do it so often. I started a 21-day walking challenge sometime last year, and I began to walk. I said, can I walk for 21 days? And as I began to think, I can walk for 21 days. Guess what happened? Eventually, I ended up being 100 days. And I remember when I posted, people were like, you walk for 100 days. I said, it started from 21 days. So you can challenge yourself and then go with the pace. And another thing that I forgot to share is that writing is at your pace. So whatever you feel comfortable to do, you start with. For some people, they'll start to write in their journals first. They might not be ready to write it per se to the outside world, but you can start by writing it in your journal. And as I start writing in your journal, you will know when you're ready to share that story to your world. You would know. But don't leave it forever because, like I shared earlier, the world is waiting. If Miles Morales, I always use an example, did not write all the books that he wrote. One of my mentors was saying that she has written I think it is Reverend Fungareji was written 107 books. I told myself, I'm just starting. I've only written 7. The road is still far. Because books are a way that we outlive our generation. Books are transgenerational. Books are our legacy, the legacy that we leave behind, even when we leave here. They are our legacy. So I don't know if anybody has any questions. I don't see any questions. Please, or any contributions, please raise your hand if you have a contribution or a question. Anybody, question, contribution? Okay, yes, go ahead, man, go ahead.
Thank you very much. We really appreciate this. This is very, very good. For some of us, we get to a point and we get stuck. Despite the fact that we follow these 6 steps that you've said, sometimes we actually get stuck. And they get stuck maybe as a result of, okay, maybe you got busy, so many things start coming up, your mind gets cloudy and things like that. Somewhere inside of you, what you wanted to write is there. But the transfer of it out, you just wanna you stuck. And for another maybe 30 days, 40 days, even half a year, you're not moving. What do you do? How do you get out of getting stuck?
Okay.
Because I want to believe that most of us here are women and our days sometimes are much more busier than everybody else. But the thing is there, it's inside of you, but just got stuck. How do you get out?
Okay, thank you so much for asking that question. And I believe that was where, like for me, I completely understand. I have those, because we have this thing we call writer's block. When you write, writers have block time that they feel like, even when you're writing, you find like, oh, I'm stuck. But guess what I find? Go back to retrace your steps often. There's something that John Maxwell often says that I love, and I've held on to it. He often says that any message that God gives to you, you can never run out of ideas for that message. Anything that God gives you, you can never run out of resources for that message. And so I find out for whatever area that you're looking to write in, if you get stuck, begin to look at, as somebody else written in this area. And you know why I'm saying to look at that? Because it would motivate you. It will give you fresh ideas of, oh, okay, it would start you up again. And two things I spoke about. I believe that scheduling, you have to be intentional about writing. That's the biggest part about writing. A lot of time we don't want to, but put your why before you, and put your schedule whereby you are doing it every day. Look at what other people are doing. And another thing that I do as well is that when I want to write a book, I always put that book on my vision board. I do that for me. Like if I want to write, like this year, and I want to write 4 books. I'm writing 4 books this year. I've put it on my vision board. I'm writing 4 books. I would write the titles on my vision board. And every time I look at my vision board, I will speak over it and I will declare that, you know what, I don't know how I'm going to do this, but God, I thank you because I thank you for ideas. I thank you for strategies. I thank you because you're helping me to do this. And I received divine, and so I believe, and that's all part of intentionality. You want to do it. You don't know how to, you feel stuck, but I found that just putting yourself in that place whereby okay, let me give you an example, man. Imagine that you only have 30 days to live. Let me give you that example. Imagine you have 30 days to go. That is it, 30 days to go. Would we live life often the way we live it right now? That's an example. If they say to you, you only have 30 days to go, there are things that you put in perspective. You're like, this. There's so many things that you put in perspective. And I almost want to see it like that it's putting the pressure on yourself. And I use the tea bag a lot. The tea bag, if it's not thrown in hot water, we don't enjoy the flavor. So sometimes we have to put pressure on ourselves. In your busy schedule, ask God to give you strategies. God, how can I get this done? I have a 9 to 5, it takes my whole time, but do I have 30 minutes that maybe I watch TV for 2 hours? Could I take out 30 minutes? Or maybe even when I'm in the kitchen, I can dictate this, I can record it on my phone, whereby later I can transcribe it. Could that be an idea? So I find with writing, you can be very creative. I have a client I'm working with now. She lives in the US. I'm helping her to write a book. How are we doing this? She sends me her transcriptions. She doesn't have the time to sit down and write. So what I do is she sends me her transcriptions. I transcribe them and I send the recordings back to her. I transcribe them and now the book is almost completed. Just with that. We have the book cover done. So what I find writing that don't put it in a box. Think, how can I get this done? If we really want to get this done, how? Let's see, and that's why when you think about the word think means to imagine. One of the meaning of the word think is imagine. So imagine, how can I get this done? My heart wants to do this. I believe I can do this. I have designed a plan. What are the strategies that I can use to do it? And ask God, help me. What can I, how can I get this done? I really want to. When God sees your heart, he will bring you strategies. I told you how he gave me a schedule. A schedule that people will think really you got that from the Holy Spirit. Yes, I did. And he gave me a particular schedule because he knew that my schedule was too tight. My schedule was back to back, working graveyards, and I had to sleep during the day. But he gave me a schedule to have an hour to write a day. So I believe that where there's a will, there's a way, like that saying says. So let's not put in the box. Just think, Lord, give me strategies. I want to do this. Be open to creative ideas. Be open to strategies, and tell yourself, I want to do this. I can do this. And I'm not going to put myself off. I'm not going to give excuses. I am going to get this done. Put yourself under pressure. And please let me know if that has helped you in any way. So we have to put ourselves under pressure to make sure that it gets done. Let me know if that has helped in any way. Okay. I would like to know if that question has been answered. Okay, I'm not getting a response. Anybody else? Okay, that works. Thank you, ma. Okay, anybody else has any question, any contribution before we end this? Any other person? Very helpful. Do you have a question you want to ask about this? Any question? Also, the way that I can help you, like I mentioned, is I want to do a hand holding. That's my thing. I'm a midwife, so that's what I'm called to do. I'm doing the Writers Bootcamp. So if you know someone that needs to write a book, or you need to write a book, you can join us on here. We are ready to go. March 15th, we are go. And by 30 days, that book is done. And then if you want to still add to it, you can add to it. But if there are no more questions, then that will be the end of the webinar.
I have a question.
Okay.
Well, good evening, ma. Good
Good
evening, everyone.
evening.
Or good
Oh,
afternoon, good morning.
morning.
Okay. Mine is I won't say it's a question, but I have written a book,
Okay.
and just like the last person that asked the question, I started writing the book since 2019, and
Like my client that had.
I get stuck sometimes, and I just forget about the book, and until my accountability partner will be on me, and then I resume back again. And it's been like that till last year. I finally finished the book, and I want to put it on Amazon. So I was working with someone, and then, but the person was not forthcoming, yeah? And I kept sending emails. At some point, he told me he was sick. And since then, I just abandoned the book. I've not done anything about
You
it
cannot
again.
abandon the book.
But
Somebody is waiting to read that book. You cannot abandon it.
yeah, and something like you said. I like the why step. That is so motivating. And I remember one day early this year, I was reading the book. When you write a book and you're reading it, even you are inspired by the book. So I was like, I mean, what was this book still doing in my email? What's this still doing with me? Why is it not out yet? But the truth is,
Okay, I think she goes. Oh, that must be network. We can't hear you anymore. Oh, okay, it might be network. Maybe she would join us back. So if there's anybody's, oh, okay, from now we can't hear you anymore. But I'm hoping you'll be able to get back in. So if there's anybody's also story that they're saying, okay, I know what I've written it, and maybe I leave it for a while. Like someone also asked the same question. Let's go back to the why. Why did you even start writing that book? You're back. Okay. Oh, okay. So go back to why you started writing that book. And always remember that your world is waiting. There are people that God has called you to. And like my mentor says, that Teresa Belfort, she says, someone in need is waiting on the other end of your obedience. Often somebody is waiting on you to obey to write that book so that they can get clarification about a certain area. Some of the things that we carry, we don't want to take it to the grave. We want to make sure that we empty ourselves. You have been called to live fully and die empty. One of the ways that you can live fully and die empty is what? Is by birthing the books that you have on the inside of you. Let's unborn generations enjoy what you have. Let us enjoy your wealth of wisdom. Let us enjoy your wealth. And you don't have, I was about to say, we don't have forever to be here. But the time that we have to be here, guess what? We want to empty ourselves to our world, to bring forth everything, every gift that God gave you, everything He has put on inside of you. Let's empty it to our world. And one of the ways, yes, if you're able to talk again now, we're ready to take you. Let's empty ourselves of what God has put on the inside of us. Are you able to talk again? Oh, yes.
Yes. So, like I said, I have some other, like 2 other books I want to write, but somehow I'm not even motivated to start, seeing that I've not even published, this one. So, that's just basically.
Okay. I have somebody. I'll recommend somebody to you
tonight.
Okay, can you hear me? I have somebody I can recommend to you who is like super fast. Okay, her network keeps cutting in and out. I think I'll have to connect with her so I can recommend someone to her that can help her with that. Because it's true, once one is published, then you're able to get on the other ones. Okay, any other questions? I'll have to connect with Funmilayo outside here. Any other person before we bring this to a close? Any other contributions? And if you still have questions outside of here, please, you can connect with me as well on I am Olu Olabode on Instagram. You can send me a DM if there's anything that you need to find out. Oh, sorry. I think I was sending that. Let me put it in here. I am Olu Olabode. You can, if you have any questions, even regarding this outside this time. Okay. So I want to, and so lastly, I just want to say thank you to everyone. I want to say, so Funmilayo, I think what we're going to do is I'm going to connect with you. I have somebody that I'm going to send to you to help you, that has helped me with all my books, and he's always on my case. So I think I'll connect you with that person so they can work with you as well. So we can get the first one out. I think that's, once the first one is out, you want to get the other ones out. I think so. So I'll send you the person's contact. I'll connect with you on WhatsApp. So that's the end. But I want to say a big thank you to everyone for being here, for joining this class. I'm so excited. And I'm looking forward to, to seeing our books. Whether you're writing it now or you're writing it this year, later this year, I want to hear your stories. And how you can also help me is that you can spread the word about this. If you know anybody that wants to write a book, if you know anyone that's looking to write the book, I want to encourage us. What I can ask you to do is I'm going to share the flyer. You can share this in your stories. If anybody wants to write, you can share this and tag me. I am Olu Olabode on Instagram or on Facebook in your Facebook story, and let us connect. Let the person connect with me. Okay. So thank you everyone once again. That's the end of our session. Okay. Thank you. Have an awesome rest of your day, everyone.